I'm gonna be honest with you. We've got nothing. This was your detail. You were responsible for her.
Look, as I told him, we came into town.
Yeah. We've heard all that. You're in town, you're looking at real estate.
I'm telling you the truth.
Was there anything different? Was there something that stood out to you?
None of this is making sense. All right, just think about it. From the beginning, what was the first thing you saw? What's the first thing you remember?
What can you tell us? There's got to be something you can tell us, something that
None
happened.
of what
Not
you
just that
said. You're the only person that's alive sitting here now. Let's go back, start from there.
You were responsible for her.
Hello and welcome to the Bargain Binge podcast. I'm Dylan. I'm the one in the middle of the art that you'll see on your podcatcher, and on the right is the tall one, and that's
I'm Evan. I'm the tall one. I'm the gigantor.
And then on the other one is also here.
Yep, that's me, Aaron, vainly touching my hair.
Yeah, it's always got to be perfect. And so the Bargain Binge podcast. Welcome to the first episode, I guess.
Our inaugural episode.
I guess the tagline is, we're the last bastion for physical media and your wallet. And our whole entire thing is reviewing movies that we pull from the Bargain Bin. You can find those most primarily at Walmart these days, but we just randomly pick a movie out and review it. Unless either of you have anything to add, I guess that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, I mean, we don't just review the movie. We review everything that comes with that DVD. Special features, the audio track, everything in terms of like how it was transferred. Just the kind of bang for the buck you're getting when you get a $5 video out of the box.
Yeah, every facet of what is on the disc itself. And that's our main goal, our main focus is to not only review the movie itself, but to review the, I guess, quality to price ratio of what you're getting.
For the physical object of the movie, which is what we stand to protect in this current era of every streaming service ever just being announced by every studio, and you got to pay like a different form of cable. It's came in saying it would replace cable, and now it just costs the same and sucks even more somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So we're taking a stand for the disc, the ideal way to watch something, and so not always DVDs. Sometimes we'll do Blu-rays, and today is one such that instance, and here's a clip of Aaron pulling it from the bin at Walmart.
All right, this is bin number 2. I'm reaching in. We're gonna see what we pull out. Got something. Here we go. Oh, okay.
A straight-to-video Escape Plan sequel.
I've never even heard of Escape Plan.
I saw the first one.
It's got Dave Bautista and Sylvester Stallone.
And 50 Cent.
And 50 Cent. I'd say this is another winner.
Yeah, that's a big winner.
Yeah, so that's right. We are reviewing Escape Plan 3, The Extractors, starring Sylvester Stallone with Curtis Jackson, a.k.a. 50 Cent, a.k.a. 50 Cent, and Dave Bautista, a.k.a. Batista.
Yeah.
And
I'm not entirely sure if this film stars Curtis Jackson.
No.
Well, I'm just basing this off of the case. As we'll get into later, I wouldn't say either of those two were should legally be allowed to be put on the cover. Honestly, that's false advertising.
You might call it a little bit misleading.
Just a tiny bit. I mean, it's Lionsgate, so I mean, we shouldn't have been too surprised, right?
No.
So Aaron picked it, so we'll start with him, and you can read the synopsis on the back of the box.
Okay, so screen legend Sylvester Stallone kicks this explosive action tale into high gear. After security expert Ray Breslin, Stallone, is hired to rescue the kidnapped daughter of a Hong Kong tech mogul from a formidable Latvian prison, Breslin's girlfriend, Jamie King, Sin City, is also captured. Now he and his team, which includes Trent, Dave Bautista, Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, and Hush, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, Power, must pull off a deadly rescue mission to confront their sadistic foe and save the hostages before time runs out.
I like that they couldn't pick a Guardians of the Galaxy for Batista, so it had to be the whole franchise.
He's from
I don't think you
Guardians.
need to. Yeah, you don't need to put a credit next to 50 Cent either. It's 50 Cent. And so this you just have a pretty standard Lionsgate box here with some shit-ass digital art of the leads kind of poorly paced together. They're standing in what it's a prison. It's not the one in the movie.
Not at all, no.
The disc art is just a crunched version of the cover art, which is one of my least favorite things.
The one thing I will appreciate always with Lionsgate is that there's not a blue strip at the top that says Blu-ray. This time it's red. They've gotten better. It's like on the side, less noticeable, but that's kind of always an eyesore. So we got the Blu-ray plus DVD plus digital. So that's starting off pretty good as far as value goes.
Oh, yes. Since we had to spend an entire $7 on this collection.
Okay, $7 is the going fee. We'll keep that in mind for a later summary judgment on whether it's a bargain. Okay, so...
That's not...
Oh my god. You see... My job as a producer, I know the basic just elements of it, but then I forget the ones that I would think I wouldn't have to tell children to do. Okay, so I guess we can just get into the plot here. I guess the first is the trailers, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, this was interesting in that I believe every trailer except for one was just for the previous Escape Plan movie. So the first one was for Escape Plan 1, and the second was for Escape Plan 2. And that's not something I don't think I've ever seen, where they're just kind of plugging the previous films. Like, hey, I guess you should probably watch these if you haven't already.
Yeah, I would hope that one had seen the other two. I mean, we haven't.
I was about
really.
to say we're the only people crazy enough to just go into this without having seen the others. Why would you watch
Lionsgate's
this if you haven't
common
seen the
thing is they'll just put trailers for whatever they think is slightly relevant, even if it came out years ago. There's no limit that they set for themselves. It's always just random shit that vaguely represents the genre that the movie you bought is.
Yeah, I want to give huge credit to the people at Grindstone and Movie Pass for making these identical low-tier action movies.
That's how you know it's Grindstone. It's Lionsgate with Grindstone, and sometimes Movie Pass, and sometimes it could be Redbox.
I definitely wanted to bring up the fact that this is a Movie Pass film, because that is just a rarity. I think there's only a handful in existence.
There's Gotti, which was the big distribution thing for them, because they ran a huge media campaign that was like, critics don't want you to see this movie.
I believe
no one wanted to see it.
I believe they also produced the Michael Chiklis and
Bruce Willis film.
Right. Well, why am I forgetting Bruce Willis's
10 Minutes
name?
Gone.
Yes. I couldn't remember the title.
We watched that one just because it was Movie Pass's last ride into the sunset, because it hit video like a month or two after Movie Pass dissolved entirely. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you a single thing about that movie.
No, me either. But
yeah, I can tell you Bruce Willis did not try. That's all I got for you.
But yeah, so the trailers were, and I wrote them down. There were 5, I think. Yeah, there was 2 for the Escape Plan movies, and then there was one for James Franco's Future World.
Oh my god, yes, I forgot about that one. The Mad Max.
Yeah, that one sucks.
Yeah, that movie's extremely, extremely bad, to a degree that surpasses many other low-tier James Franco productions.
I was shocked at how good the trailer was for how little content there is in the film itself.
Yeah, it kind of
trailer is actually
every interesting like line or shot together just in rapid succession to kind of trick you into thinking there's like a movie in there.
There's an implication that there's like some sort of divide between humans and like cybernetic people, and that doesn't really happen in the movie.
Not much does at all.
It's just nothing happens in it. But then the other two were another Backtrace, which was another Stallone movie, and Bent, starring Carler, but not much to say about those. They were action movies, but I do think Bent is a very funny name for a movie. Come on, you got to think like, because it's about like a crooked cop, and he says, "Yeah, I'm a bent cop." It's like no one says that. I'm a gay cop.
The character does when he has to get the trademark in.
Trailers, then we hit the menu, which just looks like every other Lionsgate menu that you'll ever see. There's clips of the movie in the background. All the stuff's at the bottom. It's very sleek and kind of boring. But the bonus features, if you check those out ahead of time, we just have the making of Escape Plan, the Extractors, and commentary with director Hertzfeld, Stallone, Devon Sawa, and Daniel Bernhardt. So director and 3 actors, kind of, but we'll talk about that later. It certainly is an interesting track. So I guess we'll just get into the meat of the movie now. We can't really stall with disc details as much as I really would prefer it at this point.
Yeah.
Because the movie's just... it's like it's there to put you to sleep. It's the equivalent of counting sheep.
I found it quite hard to like pay attention to.
Yeah, and that's pretty crazy because it with minus the credits and the logos, it's only like a minute 15.
Short. Yeah. It's quite short, but it feels a lot longer than it actually is, and there aren't enough action scenes because I'm sure we'll get into it, but I thought the action scenes weren't bad for what they were, but there's just too few of them.
Yeah, they try to keep like high and tight with the action, so you can actually see them, like the people they got who could do stunts actually perform them, which I have to give credit for because a lot of stuff at made at this level doesn't do that.
Oh yeah, all the choreography looks pretty cool for the most part.
Yeah, the main villain bad guy, the one that's on the commentary, what's his name?
Devon Sawa?
Daniel Bernhardt. He's they mentioned it in the commentary track, but he's like a David Leitch.
Oh yes, yeah.
Companion.
Yeah.
He's in that crew of guys. So he brings a level of, choreography to the one fight scene he's in. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I remember that specifically because the director made it a point to mention the John Wick films and other things that David Leitch has worked on, even though that wasn't the same person.
Yeah,
but,
David Leitch and who's the actual director of the John Wick movies?
For some reason, his name does not come to mind, even though he's the actual person behind.
Well, Leitch co-directed.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but he just had like little involvement with anything after that.
Chad Stahelski. I just pulled that out of my ass too. So
both really hard names to pronounce.
Yeah, they're very Euro, but so yeah, this all pretty much hinges on those fight scenes because I mean it's kind of hard to talk about this without just kind of going through the plot. So I have some very loose notes on this, but so the movie starts with 2 whole minutes of fucking studio logos, which is never a good sign.
Like, I'm not trying to pull a CinemaSins here, but
dang, there
were so many credits.
Each one of those you think is like 10 seconds or less. And I looked at the time code, it was a full 2 minutes.
Yeah, there were so many. And I usually have no problem with that because like I've seen plenty of stuff. Like lots of movies have like multiple production company logos, but this one stood out to me as being like, okay, we're still doing this.
Well, and they saved the best for last because Movie Pass was like one of the last ones.
That's true.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked by it.
Me too. I was not expecting the Movie Pass name drop.
Flo, if you're listening to this, we can be your official podcast. We're cheap. The 5 cents you have left in your wallet.
Yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that and smile, man.
The logos are all bad. I mean, the biggest logo is the one that comes before all the studio ones, which is the DTS logo that looks like cum, and that's on like every Lionsgate movie, and it always disgusts me.
Dude, I absolutely love Leon Mouse or whatever. The extremely
in the mouse.
detailed CGI title sequence with the mouse.
Yeah, probably some sort of foreign studio or something, but it's a mouse running along the logo with and a lion's on the other side of the logo, and you can't see the details, but then it pulls out to reveal the name, and that was pretty special. But
it's just like astonishing, like, because 90% of movie production companies have like a very basic like, oh, this letter spins around or whatever, but just this detailed CG sequence just to lead to that like terrible name for this production company I've never heard of is really beautiful in its own way.
Well, I don't think you'll ever hear about them again, if that makes you feel any better.
Kind of does.
But
I wouldn't count on that with our line of work here.
Oh, that's work. I don't.
Yeah, I guess work is an inappropriate word.
Someone starts giving me money. I mean, who knows? We'll see. It's the first episode. How do you guys like it so far? Just checking in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
So it starts, and it's just a bunch of like neo-realist in the moment B-roll of Mansfield, Ohio, which is where the entire film is fucking shot. Which is that's immediate points off of the movie. I don't want to see Ohio, the absolute worst state.
Yeah, and I guess maybe jumping ahead a little bit, but I just want to point out in the commentary track, the director talks like quite a bit about how there's some kind of opioid like problem in the specific town or city that they're shooting. Mansfield, I guess that's I don't know.
Yeah, Mansfield.
I don't know with the
Ohio.
population, but yeah, and that doesn't help. Because, I don't know, it's not exactly something you want to mention.
He put such heavy emphasis on how helpful, like, the police department and mayor and all that stuff were, before going into long diatribes about how the place has gone to shit and how everyone there is on drugs.
Yeah.
And Devon Sawa jumps in to ask if they're on meth, too. And it's just kind of beautiful.
Yeah, do you remember that?
I didn't catch that moment. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Great.
He says he's talking about opioids, the director, and then there's like a long pause, and then Devon Sawa was like, "Oh yeah, and there's a meth problem too, right?" And he's like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, big drug problem.
That just goes to show how like out of touch Hollywood people are, because it's like that's everywhere in America. Like that's not even worth bringing up. Like that's just the Midwest, man.
Oh yeah, but the director won't stop talking about how shocked he is that there's so many cops in Ohio.
Yeah, because the fact that they have like a semi competent police force. I guess he thinks because it's because of the opioid.
Yeah, I think he pictures like the Andy Griffith show going on and anywhere besides LA or New York. But then he comes there and everybody's on meth, so really shattered his vision of the world.
It'd be really funny if what's the name of the cop?
Barney? Andy Griffith and Barney Fife. There we go.
Yeah, Barney. Okay. It should be really funny if Barney was like head of the narc program.
Yeah, accidentally forgetting to load his gun and stuff before he kicks down doors.
Putting something that isn't Narcan in a needle. It's like, that was spaghetti sauce.
Oh no. Yeah, and then, several people die, but we all laugh in the end.
Consider that. That's their backdrop. Andy Griffith's heroin epidemic is going on in the background. And in this context, there is a daughter of a billionaire Chinese businessman who owns a tech company whose accolades are questionable, as you hear throughout the movie. He says at one point, like, literally everyone in China has his cell phones.
Oh, does he?
So he's a big deal. Yeah.
I missed that
He's
part
like,
completely.
Yeah, he says that...
Is there anyone that has any problem with me? Everyone in China, 1.3 billion people have my smartphones. Yeah, I think I have a few.
Okay, one of my favorite aspects of the film is connected to that, which is that regularly when characters talk, they just kind of list off Wikipedia information about, like, the things that are in the movie, like the prison they're in, or the electric chair. Or anytime there's just, like, a new element brought in, they'd feel the need to be like, 515 people were killed in this between 1985 and 1987 or whatever.
It's an electric chair that was built in 1896. It's solid oak. American as apple pie. 315 people died in that chair, including 3 women. They used to put a hood just like this over the inmate's head, but first they would put cotton and tape over their eyes so they didn't pop out when they fried them from the inside.
Well, it's made clear in the bonus material that the director was he's very encouraging of improv in the movie. So then actors just take that as an opportunity to just read Wikipedia articles and just kind of toss words out. And I feel like that's pretty often what improv becomes.
Oh yeah, you can like really picture the actors like sitting on their phone while other things are being shot and just like desperately looking for something to talk about.
Oh, this is going to make him cream. This will make it into the final edit.
And they're right every time.
Yeah, it's true. But so looping back, it's the daughter of that Chinese businessman who owns China's phones. She's inside of an abandoned building in Ohio, which is always a favorite location for Grindstone Pictures and Lionsgate.
There's a lot of abandoned buildings in Ohio in this film.
It's literally every single thing.
I mean,
because
to their credit, they did a good job set dressing. Like the couple in the beginning, like the couple
office building basically looks like
building.
An office building. Mm-hmm. Even though it's a rundown, cracked in Ohio, as they describe.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an empty one. I mean, let's just list off the locations. There's that. There's one airplane hangar that takes the position of 3 different airplane hangars throughout the runtime of the movie, but it's the same one. And there's Sylvester Stallone's company's office, which is also in an abandoned building with one desk that everyone sits around. And then there's the prison, which is the historical Ohio State prison where they shot Shawshank. But they're all 4 of those abandoned or completely empty, as airplane hangars are most of the time.
Mm-hmm. You know, my first thought when I saw that old, like, historical prison was, you know, I bet they've shot a Ghost Adventures episode here. And I was right. Very early, too. There's a season 2 episode where they investigate that exact prison.
We're at the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio. This 120-year-old prison seems to be infested with aggressive trapped souls.
Because I thought it looked like Alcatraz at first. Like, I mean, all those prisons kind of look the same. So, yeah. It's just know that not only has Sylvester Stallone stepped foot in there, so has Zach Baggins.
Yeah, if Zach Baggins has stepped in a place, you know that it's cheap to get for your project.
You know, the Travel Channel only had to pay like $5 for them to shoot there for the night.
Oh, yeah. Well, apparently it's a museum, so I guess.
That's what every historical thing is.
Yeah. They just do ghost tours and whatnot.
It becomes a museum if one guy's there to show you things.
Indiana Jones should stop being an advocate for putting things in museums and become an advocate for making things museums. It belongs as a museum.
As a museum.
So, yeah.
Whatever gets the tourists.
All right, I'm just going to push through this plot shit just to get the general concept out. So, Chinese businessman has a daughter. She's in Ohio looking for buildings, and she's telling her dad that she wants to buy it, but he's like, no. She's like, it's got to revive the economy. We got to do this. And all of this stuff about like the middle of America crumbling and whatnot, it just all disappears after the first 3 minutes of the movie. So don't be too concerned about that, because it was just one person looking up Wikipedia articles and not everyone was on the same page. But then she immediately goes to an airplane hangar and gets kidnapped. And that's just basically the driving point of the film. That's what brings in our escape plan crew, who I guess have become experts at breaking out of prisons.
But this time, they're breaking into a prison.
Yeah, but I think from the trailer to the second one, they also did that in the second one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, unclear.
Unclear, I don't know.
That's a big element of this, is that I saw the first one on like Redbox a decade ago and remember almost nothing. And none of us have seen the second one. And then we're here. So it is very difficult to get a hang on certain elements of like, was this person in a previous movie? What's their like relationship with this?
I found it very hard to sort of hone in on the character relationships, and because I assume Sylvester Stallone's wife / girlfriend was in a previous film.
Girlfriend, yeah. Okay. So from what I can tell, it's pretty much just that woman, Batista
and 50 Cent.
Yeah, besides Stallone, of course. Yeah, Batista and 50 Cent are from the second one.
Right.
And I think that's just it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, the continuity of the movie seems very loose, because the trailer for the Escape Plan 2, there was a Chinese guy that they had to break out of prison, and there were a few Chinese guys in this one. And I was like, oh, maybe one of them is that guy, because I only got like a brief glimpse. But no, none of them
I don't think they're
were in the other movie. So it's literally just the main three guys and maybe Stallone's girlfriend, Abby. But the girl gets kidnapped. She has two bodyguards, and one starts getting really like in his head about how she got kidnapped on his watch, and the other one's just like a cool kung fu guy who does kung fu.
Yeah.
So those are the other characters. It's hard to say anyone's a character. Almost no one has any consequences in this movie until we get to the point where it's just like Stallone and the bad guy. Those are pretty much the only ones.
There is something, I guess, important to note in that when she is kidnapped, I don't know his name in the film. We're just gonna say it's Devon Sawa. Puts a thumb drive with the name of Stallone's character. Again, don't know any of these characters' names, but we're just gonna roll with it. He puts a thumb drive in his pocket with his name on it. And then I guess, which prompts him to then seek him out and say, hey, I have your thumb drive, man. And he planned this?
Yeah, like, no, there's absolutely no logic behind the plan of the villains, because they kidnap the girl, and then they just happen to get in contact with Stallone, who also happens to be working at a company that has an expertise in breaking in / out of prisons.
Yeah.
So that's the only way that they tie in. Outside of that, there's barely any reason for them to kidnap this woman. They're like kind of extorting the Chinese billionaire for money, but like with the lowest effort possible. They don't seem too serious about it.
No. And apparently that's what, like, I'm not sure if this was, I think maybe it was in the commentary track of Devon Sawa saying, like, yeah, and my character is really just in it because he wants revenge on Sylvester Stallone because he killed his father. And my henchmen all think that it's just for money, but you never really get a sense that they think that at all. They just kind of, kidnapper.
The henchmen don't really speak.
They don't speak at all.
No, the movie doesn't convey that element at all. It was like very surprising and new to me when Devon Sawa started talking about how like there was this whole dynamic between him and his guys and like what they wanted and how it was contradictory sometimes and all this stuff. It's just not conveyed.
None of that.
That's the fun thing about commentary tracks is that there's always people like in their like studies that they did with the script that they had to because they're in it and you're watching the movie and it's like, oh no, none of that.
Yeah, and they're just regurgitating that, but none of that is actually in the movie.
Yeah, Devon Sawa tries to make it sound like it's like Die Hard or something with all these like character dynamics and false intentions and stuff, but it just isn't in there content wise.
Yeah, absolutely not. Because he just calls up Stallone just because it's like, oh, you're around. Oh, by the way, I hate you. I'm doing this kidnapping. I'm gonna actually kidnap your girlfriend too. You know what?
Yeah, why not?
Stallone has this girlfriend, and she's like, gotta be like 50 years younger than him.
Yeah, it's significant.
Oh my god, the first scene that he walks on, which is actually the scene he's on the phone with her. And it's this forced conversation, but like those close-ups on Stallone, it's like, Sly, come on. You don't need to be doing this anymore. I know Lionsgate owns you.
Well, he did mention in the commentary track that this could very well... He talked about the final action scene of this movie like it was going to be his last. Again, I don't know if that's true at all.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Yeah. We'll get talk about the fight, which is... There's so many fucking details that are insane about that thing. He has a girlfriend. They talk on the phone once before she's kidnapped, and that's how you know you've written a fully fleshed out woman character.
You know, Abigail, I was thinking about what you were saying about us moving in together. And, I think it's a pretty good idea, except for one small thing. I think it's called snoring.
What? Get out of here! I don't snore.
Well, if it ain't you, I don't know who it is. But I could put something, maybe a cork or something, and it'll keep you a little more quiet.
All right, Ray. We gotta focus.
So the bad guy has kidnapped two people for entirely different reasons, but at the same time, it all hinges on Sylvester Stallone and his friends, who consists of 50 Cent, who just shows up in literally one scene.
I believe it's two. I believe it's two.
Okay, yeah. And both times he's just clickety-clacking at a computer, and there's very little... connection.
He has probably 5 lines in the whole film.
No, and
that's probably an overestimate.
Yeah, he's on the poster.
Yeah.
In like semi-top build.
No,
not top build.
Like a couple lines don't really convey like a character or relationship, so he's just kind of there and then he's not. And then
he's second build on the poster, man.
Yeah, he's listed before
okay,
Batista.
that's what I thought. I thought it was... Yeah, I was remembering that correctly.
He's built above Dave Bautista, who's in it more, and actually has a fight scene.
I guess I was looking on like IMDb or something, but yeah, on the poster he's right there with Bautista and Sly.
Yeah, I'm sure the IMDb has like the credits, like actual billing information and whatever. But is 50 Cent that big of a box office draw to anyone at this point in time?
Probably not, honestly. I struggle to think of anyone who would really pick this out just because he's in it. But I don't know, maybe his fan base cares about stuff like this.
It feels like every movie he's in, he just shows up for 5 seconds, because it was the same for Den of Thieves. He's barely in that. I mean, he has more of a presence, but he doesn't talk.
I just want to correct myself now that I'm looking actually on IMDb. He is still third build. I think I was looking at Wikipedia. Wikipedia has him like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's really far down there. I don't know why that is, but I mean that's accurate. The Wikipedia is more accurate.
Yeah, and so then the other member. Okay, well it's not so true. There is a fourth member of the team who literally doesn't have any lines and just shows up in one scene. And Batista's like, "Who's that?" And so Stallone is just like, "Oh, that's Jane." She doesn't show up again.
I think she shows up in the end, and I was confused because I was like, "Who is that woman?"
Yeah, but usually with that, you have like a fight scene with her or something. Maybe that was shot and cut or something. But like literally, it's just this is Janice, and then never once again.
I'm gonna say that I doubt that there's like any real like scenes that were cut for this. Like this barely scraped its way to feature length. I think they used everything they had.
Yeah, it is only an hour and 15 minutes, like flat, and. So that's probably accurate, you're right. So they need to save the Chinese woman, and then all of a sudden they also have to save Sly's girlfriend. So he calls up Batista because he has like footage of the bad guy talking to a camera, and it's just a backdrop of just like a painting behind him. So he sends it to Batista, who's in Russia, with a money briefcase to imply he's doing something. And Batista's like, yeah, I know exactly where that is. Yeah, that's in Russia or something. I'll meet you.
Yeah,
yeah, I have it written down.
There's the location of the prison.
Belarus.
Okay,
the prison in the movie is supposed to be in Belarus, but in reality, it's in Ohio. And I don't think I've ever felt less like globe trekking in a movie that's supposed to have it than this, because
I agree with that. It
never feels like they leave Ohio, and they don't. No. So it's accurate.
Yeah, they list like multiple locations around the world, and it does not feel like that whatsoever.
Yeah, Batista's just in a room, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm in Russia. What's up? Oh yeah, that's in Belarus. I'll meet you there."
Hey, don't speak that downright lie that they only film in Ohio. There are 2 shots in L.A. on a rooftop.
Oh yeah,
that they filmed for no reason.
That's true. In the beginning,
I have
when
no
Batista's
idea why they would do that, because he's just on the phone. He's not doing anything there. So like, I don't know why they bothered to try to actually shoot in that location and not just keep it all in Ohio.
That's just got to be all like Stallone's shooting schedule. That was probably a pickup or something.
Yeah, no, probably was.
I don't understand why he does these movies, because it doesn't seem like he has the time or interest to do them. Yeah. I think you have enough money from all those fucking, Rocky movies and
I
Rambo
and
like the Expendables.
It seems like he at least has a little fun with them. Like he's not completely phoning it in. Like he's not your Bruce Willis.
Well, yeah, I mean, he likes the process of making movies. That's why he like got into directing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing it for forever. What's the last movie he directed?
I'm not sure.
Can't think of anything after Expendables 1, which I think he did. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's been a while. So he's just kind of... Lionsgate, he's their golden boy, so he just gets to, like, sit around, and they send him scripts, and he goes, okay, I'll be on set for 3 days.
Yeah, Aaron,
and make a shitload of money.
Aaron's right. The Expendables in 2010 was the last thing he directed, it looks like.
Okay. I guess that's more recent than I thought. I thought it was the Rambo.
Oh,
just Rambo.
Yeah, just Rambo.
Okay, yeah.
They continue the trend of Sylvester Stallone franchises having unbelievably weird titling.
Mm-hmm.
He's an auteur in that way,
Yeah, it's weird that it's consistent with everything, like Robert Rodriguez and blue screen effects.
Yeah. So they find out it's in Belarus. They weren't originally planning on it, but for some reason they bring the bodyguard that's really like upset that she got kidnapped, and they just hike it over to Belarus to the prison. And this is just where the movie becomes just a pile of mush, where it just cuts in between them, preparing to break the women out of the prison, and just the bad guys doing mean things to people.
Yeah. Preparing in air quotes, because they never actually really say or do anything to prepare. Because you would think they take it as like the heist angle, where it's like, okay, how are we going to break into this prison? They just say, hey, we have a map for the sewer system, so we're going to go in the sewer system and that's like it, and then they're just there. There's no.
Well, yeah, there's this very funny scene where they're supposed to be in like a plane or a truck or something, but it's very clearly just like a small room with surrounded by like black drywall, and they're huddled around a table and they pretend like they're laying out plans, but it's just really like we're gonna go through the sewers, and the bodyguard guy's like, what are you doing? We gotta get in there. It's like, whoa, we don't go in blind, rookie. And then that never comes back, because right after they go into the prison, he just fucking dies.
Yeah.
And he never has like a redemptive moment or arc. It just ends there.
Yeah, no, it's kind of funny because they create this non-plan, and then Devon Sawa goes, oh, they're doing the thing I thought they were gonna do? Oh, set off the bombs I put outside.
Yeah, so to fully lay out the siege that they lay on the location, it's just the two Chinese guys. I don't feel bad about calling them that because they barely are referred to by their names.
No, it's really hard.
I believe one's named Bao and the other one's named Shen. Okay. And Shen's the one that is like really upset that she died.
And Bao is...
No, wait, no. Shen's the cool guy. Shen's the badass dude who does the martial arts.
He does the umbrella action scene.
Yeah, he's her boy. Fucking... You could have convinced me otherwise. But Bao is the one that just dies in 2 minutes after this. So those two guys are just walking through the forest, just like walking up to the like 50-foot wall prison. Like, what is your plan there? And then Sylvester Stallone doing one of his 3 days on set is just completely by himself in some like sewer system,
right?
Walking through.
It's just fascinating how little of a plan there is in a movie with the word plan in the title.
Yeah, no, it like the strange thing about it, based on the trailer for the second one and what I can remember from the first one, is that these guys can like break in and out of super prisons that are like and have billions of dollars invested in them and like all this stuff, but they struggle so hard to go inside of this dilapidated museum.
Oh yeah. There's nothing in like, just because it's dilapidated doesn't mean that it's scary, you know, because they just kind of rely on the fact that like the bars are rusty and the paint is chipping.
Oh
like,
yeah, they talk that up in the commentary track quite a bit,
and they won't stop saying that they didn't have to set dress it. They say it repeatedly. We didn't have to do anything to this place. It's like, you probably should have done something.
Probably should have.
Just a little bit.
There's a little bit bare, because, I mean, they don't even get that great of locations in the prison. It's just really like this one hall. It just has like 3 floors on one, of cells on one side of it. That's pretty much...
Oh yeah, they shoot it in such a limited way that it feels like a set.
Yeah, it could have just been a set for cheaper.
They also say 1,000,000 times, you couldn't make that. You couldn't build that.
Yeah, they keep saying... Devon Sawa insists that it's impossible to build sets.
A prison set. Yeah.
You cannot imagine a world in which you could build that.
Yeah, well, because Escape in Brawl in Cell Block 99, that's right. This is Escape Plan. Brawl in Cell Block 99 was shot in a bunch of cool prison sets, but they like in prisons, but they have like, you know, sets that tie those together.
Yeah.
And that's a super cheap movie. No, it's probably like the same budget as this.
Yeah.
It's probably less.
And they're like in that movie, each one feels like a place that you could walk around. Well, this, even though it's a real place I could go drive to and walk around, it doesn't feel like it's actually there. It's really weird. And the exteriors look fake for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know why they have
the exteriors shots. The exteriors are actually fake, because on the behind the scenes video they show like the actual exterior of the prison, and that's where they shot the exteriors of Shawshank there, because it looks pretty outside. and like old-timey kind of.
Right.
It's a nice for a different purpose. They shot the exteriors there, so yeah, all the exteriors in this are like super fake and look like shit.
Did they just not want to get exteriors for real because they were worried that people would...
Well, the prison's too nice, so they had to come up with an exterior that looks shitty.
Enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but it doesn't.
No,
The
it
one
doesn't.
that they
It
show,
still
like,
doesn't.
Yeah, I don't...
And maybe like some of the elements are like real, but it's heavily edited, and they added like a cartoonish amount of trees to make it look like Belarus or whatever.
Also, like there's a forest surrounding the area.
Also, the night exteriors are so dark in such a weird digital way that it just looks like nothing. It looks like a completely fake construct, and I don't know why they would do that.
Well, yeah, that's the exterior shot that just show like this is a prison. It's like this weird digital crap, and then when they're actually in the exterior for like 3 shots, when the CG bombs go off,
that was something else.
That's just like, oh, that's a forest in Cleveland or something. Oh, Mansfield. Sorry, Mansfield.
Sorry, citizens of Ohio, for your life.
So they immediately fuck up because the bad guys knew exactly what was going to happen. Then the bad guys just start, capturing them, locking them up or whatever. The ones that aren't Stallone, because he's still in the tunnel.
He's in the sewer for so long.
The whole movie.
He's in there for the whole second.
Oh yeah, no, the movie is very consistent about actually using Sylvester Stallone, because if you watch movies by this production company, they'll have Bruce Willis, but he'll be there for 4 scenes that are all shot in the same location and were clearly the same day. Well, here you actually get the feel like he's the protagonist of the movie for most of it, but then the moment he goes in that sewer, he's gone for the entire third act.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a good half of the movie he's just crying in a sewer because while he's down there he can hear it all in his headpiece, and Bao Shen and the girl, what's her name? It's like Daya, yeah, like Raya in The Lost Dragon but with a D.
Okay.
So all 3 of them are captured. And meanwhile, all this is happening. Batista is like, yeah, I work better alone, and then just disappears and you don't see him for another 30 minutes. So he still maintains that Grindstone Pictures kind of non-presence that you come to expect. But Stallone hears as they shoot Bao, so he doesn't get his redemptive arc or anything, and he just dies.
Yep.
That's the end of that.
It's just capped.
And then just to even further underline how little anyone cares, Stallone's girlfriend gets shot too.
No, she doesn't. Correction, she doesn't get shot. She or wait, does she?
She violently gets her throat slit.
Or he slits her throat,
which is important.
In my head, I was like, wait, did he shoot her before he did that? But I don't. But yeah, the point is that he kills her by slitting her throat, and he's FaceTiming Stallone as he does it, so he can see down in the sewer. And
he's
then
like, no, please don't.
Right.
No. And the film suddenly goes from being like a vaguely Fast Five Oceans thing of this crew to just, Stallone's got to get revenge on this guy, and everyone else is irrelevant.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad when it was just intercutting between the protagonists and the villains preparing for the actual events of the movie to happen. But this is where it just becomes just pure goop, just a sludge of nothing.
Yeah, it's honestly really hard to even.
You can't really break down the events that occur for the rest of it so much, because it's just a period. It's just like the bad guys talk to the girl, try to get information. There's another guy from her company that get kidnapped, and they're gonna try to make him hack into the system for information. Still all super vague what they're, after.
It was kind of a funny bit that made me chuckle with that character. They're trying to interrogate him, and the Devon Sawa comes in, and he's like, "You better have logged into whatever you're trying to log into, or I'm gonna kill you." And then he just like turns the computer to face him, and it's just a middle finger emoji. He's like, "Oh,
you better be hooking me up with all that free porn you've been telling me about."
Yeah, he didn't expect to get fucked like that.
No, he got owned.
The guy with the computer is such a non-character to a degree where it's like, why is this even an element in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like when 50% of your movie is padding, it just kind of, the lines begin to blur between like what matters, what doesn't, what was actually intended to be padding, what they actually thought was good.
I do like that the other computer guy, who gets killed by getting thrown into a wall at like 100 miles per hour by a giant bald man, just splattered. That's one of the stronger moments in the movie.
Yeah, so it's just really just a bunch of guys dying.
Pretty much.
In random order.
I think another stronger moment was when Batista finally comes back into the movie.
Well, yeah, we'll go, I guess. So, they lock up Shen in like solitary confinement, and this is when things decide to start happening again, because Batista just like he's not there for, like I said, 20 minutes. But then all of a sudden he's just walking down the main hall because they only used one part of the prison.
Yeah, he's just there.
He's got a shotgun.
The shotgun, and he takes out like 5 guys with incendiary shells, which admittedly is kind of cool.
Yeah, it was just like firework bullets. It was fun.
Oh yeah, he just cartoonishly like blows their limbs off, and it's one of the most exciting things in the movie.
Pretty much all the exciting stuff happens back to back in that one period of like 3 minutes, because you get Batista shooting people with with incendiary rounds, and then you get like the main like fight scene for Shen, and he only gets the one, and that's against the big fighter guy, Daniel Bernhardt, and that's like their big scene. And then immediately following that, Batista has his fight scene with his stunt double.
Right.
Yeah, he has a pretty cool pro wrestling style fight with his stunt double, and that's probably my favorite scene of the movie.
That was also very good.
Oh yeah, no, him like slamming him neck first and just
it ends with him kind of like Batista bombing a guy, and his neck gets caught on like metal and just snaps on impact. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, because the director he really appreciates like physicality and like actual stunt work. So he kind of lets stuff like breathe and be clean, but there's like only a few scenes in the whole movie where that happens. So it's just kind of disappointing.
Well, yeah, I feel like you could have, for the time, just, sprinkled in a few more fight scenes, especially at the beginning, because there's literally a scene that we didn't mention before, but it's Shen walks into an office with like a briefcase, and he literally just starts fighting people for no reason. Like a kung fu fight just breaks out in what seems to be like a dentist's waiting room.
Wielding an umbrella, which I thought he was going to like have some kind of hidden sword or gun in the umbrella, but he just uses the umbrella as like a blunt force object, which is fine, I guess.
It would have been more fine if he used the umbrella again, or like use that kind of
like that was
weapon work again.
Like that was established as a thing he did.
Well, that was super like, oh, what happens in these John Wick movies? Oh, he always has a different weapon.
He just hurts people.
Like Jackie Chan. Yeah.
With random objects that aren't threatening.
He doesn't even like open it to like stun someone. That'd be fun. But
I thought it was going to be some kind of gadget, but...
Oh no, he uses it like a baton the whole time. Like, he doesn't use it as a weapon.
It's just like a bat. It could have been literally anything, and for that... So then why not just make it like a stick or something?
Because an umbrella means that he is sophisticated.
That's true.
Well,
that is the shorthand.
You just conveyed more like thought about this character to me than the movie did.
Yeah, so we've pretty much already gone through all the major fight scenes except the finale, which I guess we'll just get to. The bad guy and Stallone fight.
Yep.
But I mean, the placement in it isn't like in the movie isn't that interesting. The stuff behind it is, but so Stallone's partner at the breaking in/out business was the bad guy's dad, and the dad died or something, and Stallone took over the business, and that's why he's mad at him. Right. So this fight is just the culmination of all that anger that played so little into the plot that we didn't even mention it earlier. But yeah, the fight scene's nuts because it's just improvised.
Yeah, we learned. I mean, you can kind of. I don't know if I completely grasped that while watching it, but Stallone goes into how they just were literally making up these moves, this choreography on the fly, in this tiny little 8x6 room or whatever. Well, there's also a cameraman in there.
Yeah, the walls are not padded, but what's the guy's name? The bad guy's name? Devon Sawa.
Devon Sawa, yeah.
He's pretty good in this. He's probably the best performance in the movie, by the way.
What? Really?
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was pretty fine.
I thought. I don't know. I thought he played it kind of boring. Like he was talking about in the commentary about how his mission or something going into the character was to make people sympathize and like him as a villain instead of being obnoxious or anything. But I think it would have helped if he leaned more into being obnoxious. It would have been more fun.
Well,
I don't know.
I think that would have worked really well for how bad he jobs in this fight.
I don't know. I just thought he did fine. It for what was on the page and what he said. I think it was
consistent,
fine. Yeah,
at least I'll give him that.
He wasn't. The character's not particularly well
defined,
written.
Yeah, I guess I might more so just be talking about how the character's written, because he doesn't have a gimmick or traits or anything other than the fact that he wants revenge for his father's death.
I think I just kind of have a soft spot for him in the cast of Lionsgate regulars, he was in the Fanatic,
right?
With John Travolta, and he was the.
Aaron had brought that up.
He's actually pretty good in that movie.
Yeah, he is. I agree with that. He's quite good in that movie.
You okay with some music? You like a little Limp Biscuit?
Sure.
You like a little biscuit?
Yeah.
Yeah? Nice and loud? I used to listen to this back in the day. This is hot. Oh my God, that is nice. That is nice. Here we go, baby.
This is just a fully improvised fight between Sylvester Stallone, who's ancient, and Devon Sawa, who doesn't have actual fight training experience, and he takes some of the most insane bumps in this fight. He just goes head first into concrete walls 5 times.
Yes,
it's absolutely crazy. Stallone just brutalizes him, and it's kind of. I think it's my personal favorite thing in the whole movie. It's just the degree to which he makes the main villain eat shit here.
Well, yeah, because this is Stallone even in a roundabout way says it, but this is literally a pro wrestling scene.
Oh yeah,
he says that.
It's booked exactly like the end of the Undertaker AJ Styles WrestleMania match, where he's just ripping him apart and talking unbelievable shit to him.
You do this for your father? You love your father? You love your father? Come on. Hit me. Hit me for your father. You wanted me? You got me. Come on. You call that a fucking hit? Fucking wait, you like this? Fucking wait. Let me tell you about my father. Let me tell you about my fucking father. Get up. Get up. Let me tell you about my father.
Really?
It's so like visceral and like upsetting in a weird way. I like really enjoyed how that came out. It's shot weird because there was improv. They're just waving the camera around, but I had a fun time with it.
Stallone sells for like the first 2 seconds, but then it's just him, Devon feeding the baby face.
Oh yeah, just getting squashed horrifically.
I was kind of taken out by the fact that there was like some of the like worst possible CGI blood assets on the wall.
Absolutely horrendous.
They didn't need it either. Like you could see they had like squibs and they had makeup, like bloody makeup on their faces. So it's like, why do you even? From what I could see, they could have just omitted that completely, and it would have been much better.
Oh yeah, they slap
it's just distractingly bad.
They slap an identical blood decal every time someone impacts the wall, and they do it again at the end of the fight when he hits the ground, but they stretch it out and make it bigger when he hits the ground.
You can tell it's the same asset.
Yeah.
So that was annoying, but
because every time his head smacks against the wall, there's just like no like animation to it. Just there's a splatter on the wall.
It couldn't
the next frame.
It couldn't look more like it's not part of the space. Like
and it's like poorly tracked because it's all shot handheld. So and it's always there in the background the whole fucking time. So you just see it poorly tracked to the wall throughout the entire scene.
Mm-hmm. So. But it was quite brutal. He did kick the shit out of that guy. And then he drags him out of the room and wraps his arm around his neck and then slits his throat and then pushes him over the railing and he falls like 50 feet to the ground.
Yeah. And that's pretty much the end of the actual plot.
Fascinatingly, Stallone, according to the director's commentary, added the fact that he did that to him, like on the day, even though it's the logical conclusion based on what happened to his girlfriend. But they just were going to have him like drop kick him or something. And he was like, what
he said that the original thing that happened was that some other character throws him off of the railing.
No, I think it's the like kung fu master character.
Yeah, probably Shen.
I think he was supposed to jump into the conflict and do a diving drop kick that knocks him off a ledge and kills him. And
you can there's still trails of that because after he throws him off, the next shot it cuts and the camera's just kind of wider and him and the Chinese billionaire's daughter are just standing 10 feet away from him on the railing.
Oh yeah. No, he was clearly still supposed to like get involved, but there's no spot for that anymore. But it's like insane to me that in the script they didn't have Stallone do that originally, because it's like the other guy has so little connection. I mean, I guess his girlfriend was kidnapped, but there's no like visceral connection on the same level of like, oh yeah, Stallone has girlfriend's throat slit, so now he's gonna do it back. Like that feels logical for this kind of trashy action stuff, but he was just gonna get drop kicked.
Stallone made a really good suggestion. It ties it together pretty, well, at least just much better than it would have in the original script, apparently.
Well, my bet is that they probably didn't have him fighting too much at all, because he's an elderly man who shouldn't be doing it, but he still just keeps insisting. And in the commentary, he implies that this is going to be his last fight scene ever, but he said that like every movie he's done, like in the past 20 years.
Yeah, he was framed it as like, I want to go out with a bang. It could be my last one, and then he'll probably say that on the next movie.
On the next Grindstone
Rambo
production.
Last Blood came out after this.
It did.
Already.
That movie is bonkers.
Yeah. There's plenty of fight scenes with Stallone there.
Yeah, I think this movie could have benefited from some Home Alone style like death traps that the bad guy set up in the prison. like maybe I'm not saying on the level of Last Blood, but something similar, or just anything to pose an obstacle for the
villains?
protagonist to break in. Yeah, you know, they don't experience.
Oh, you want the villains to have set up some sort of booby traps.
Yeah. Like or something, just so they don't just kind of waltz in there in the sewer.
Yeah, there's no conflict in the movie at all.
Well,
there's like the artifice of conflict in that
both groups
your
here,
girlfriend's kidnapped, but she dies anyway, so then it's just revenge.
no, both groups here are supposed to be like elite task forces of people, but they don't wear like bulletproof vests or like have any kind of protection or plans or anything. It's just a bunch of guys in like collared shirts walking around with guns. And it's just doesn't come off like it makes sense, because the main characters are supposed to be these like elite of elite break-in, break-out masters, but they cannot get in this place like properly because so many of them die in the attempt, even though like this place is not defended in any way. It just comes off really weird.
I guess there's those like remotely triggered bombs that go off.
Yeah, the JPEG bombs.
The JPEG bombs, but that's like about it.
Just to wrap it up, like literally the only remaining scene is everyone is in the hangar again. The daughter of the billionaire wraps up her relationship with him, and he's like, "Oh, I love you," but then she like denies him a hug because she didn't give him enough agency in running the business, which is something that hasn't come up since that happened in the first 5 minutes of the movie. So that's really sudden and weird. And then she like runs over to her boyfriend Shen's arms. While that's happening, everyone's just standing there, and it like cuts to Stallone and Batista literally just like being like, "Oh no."
Well, something, maybe I'm reading way too much into this, but when she's like standing there with Shen and is like talking to her father, I got the sense that her father didn't approve of Shen, and it was like a big point that she said like, "I'm going with him, like screw you, I'm getting out of here, I'm riding home with him," and the father seemed really like offended by that. But that's something other than that in that scene, I don't think was ever established or gone into at all.
Well, he was with her when she was like looking in that abandoned building, which I didn't realize until I went back to look at the commentary. But Shen? It's not like he ever was like, "Oh, I don't like Shen. Shen's a bad dude."
Father. Yeah, I don't know. That was just kind of a weird thing I noticed.
No, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. So after that, Stallone and Batista have like their protagonist walking out, and it's like beat for beat the same as every other fucking movie. Or Batista's like, "Oh, what about Spain? You know, like where's the next movie gonna be?"
Yeah, and Stallone's like, "I'm not prisons. I'm tired of prisons."
Well, I like the progression because Batista's like, "Your girlfriend's horrific death was not your fault," and Stallone's like, and then they have this goofy, "Oh, what are we gonna do next time?"
And it immediately transitions to, "Hey, what's the next movie gonna be about?"
And it would definitely be a little bit more earned if he seemed upset about his girlfriend's death at all after the exact moment it happened.
Right.
But we kind of just forget that she was involved at all, and their whole fight just kind of becomes about the villain's dad and how they were partners or whatever.
A character that we've never even seen since we didn't watch the other films.
Yeah, but literally just after it's like, I can't wait for Escape Plan 4, it's just like a slow fade to black. And then there's, how many minutes of credits? Like 7 minutes of credits or more.
The end credit sequence is pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, no, the runtime, I believe it clocked in at like 1 hour, 27 minutes. And the the credits kicked in at 1 minute 18. So there was a full 9 minutes of credits at the end.
Okay. Sure, that's a lot, but they're badass.
Yeah, it's you have to have the stylized above the line credits that everyone does, but this is like the cheapest production, so it's all just like YouTube preset like After Effects bullshit, just with footage from the movie, and it's like you'll see in small text in the corner of the screen, it'll be like costume design by, but then in big letters taking up the whole entire screen for no reason, the words costume director or whatever just go by, like scroll by
it was
right
like,
to left.
It was like sensory overload. Like I couldn't decipher what was even going on. And the song on top of it too was very fake sounding.
Yeah, it should have been 50 Cent rapping about the exploits of the film.
The film that he wasn't in. Yeah.
Escape plan. The Extractors. I can't remember. I can never remember the fucking.
No, me either. I keep
subtitle
thinking
for
it's
this.
like Extraction, but it's the Extractors.
Well, the second one is at least called Escape Plan 2 and then subtitle. This one, they were like too embarrassed to put a 3. It is way too early into the franchise.
To drop numbers? Yeah.
Lionsgate, I already know you have the Transporter 3. It's like, be real with yourselves. Saw 10. So that's the movie then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a muddled mess of character interactions that I didn't really understand, with action scenes sprinkled throughout, that are okay, and I wish there were more of them.
When you say sprinkle, it's like when you have like 3 things that you have to distribute throughout an entire meal for multiple people, and it's just like and so no one actually gets the like a
correct
fair
amount.
Yeah.
It's
threadbare.
Yeah,
I guess reserve your judgments. We'll come back to that when we do recommendations. So next up on the slate is the bonus features, and we'll just knock out the making of Escape Plan, the Extractors first. It's just a 10-minute EPK thing.
It's incredibly basic. It's not like awful, but it's just the most default version of that.
Well, yeah, it actually has some insight into some stuff, which is, that's always helpful with things like that, because a lot of the times it'll just be literally just like, my character is very important because...
I think in the scene where his wife dies, he's very angry.
Well, yeah, because all those EPK things. I mean, we're gonna come across plenty of these throughout the series because they're on everything. But it's just you can't give too much away because it's the kind of shit that also gets like uploaded in like 5 different parts on YouTube for promotional shit. So nothing much to say about it. It has a few tidbits of information, like the improvised fight scene and Batista's fighting his double, but that's about it. It's good for a one-time watch,
Oh yeah, I've seen way worse on this kind of thing. It's just, it's fine. I've seen
better. I give it a solid like 6 out of 10 for what it is, kind of that like lukewarm range. The centerpiece of the entire disc, really, because it's not the fucking movie, is the commentary track.
Yeah, the commentary track is insane and was really just entertaining because the director can't stop talking about how there's an opioid crisis.
Well, yeah, we kept bringing it up while we were talking about like the actual plot of the movie because it wasn't interesting enough, but like the director's commentary with the actors is just like nonstop, just like tidbits about what's happening and how much they all care about the project, and then that juxtaposed with the actual movie is really funny.
It's also funny because, at least as far as like I can remember, they never really talk about like the script. They're always just like, oh yeah, that guy really tried. And
No, like, while the credits are rolling, I believe they mention, like, one of the actors was like, the process was like, oh yeah, you kind of did some rewrites on it, and the director was like brushing it off and wanted to talk as little as possible about the script, it seemed.
Oh yeah. No, you really get the vibe that all these people kind of knew this was like garbage, but they all wanted to try to make something like fun, and
yeah, they just wanted to have fun doing it.
Yeah, they all wanted to get their
they
bit
did.
in, and I think they mostly got their bits in. It just doesn't really save the product, because it's just very much a $4 million sequel to a $20 million sequel to a $50 million movie.
Something that I thought was quite made sense in the commentary was that the director kind of just drops the fact that the police officers in the film are just real Ohio police officers who they just got when they were shooting there. And
they certainly were.
I had like a eureka moment. Yeah, because I was like, oh, that's why they don't come across like they've ever acted before.
Yeah, no, they come off like Grandpa and Graham, like trying their best.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
The main officer lady's like, you're gotta get... this is our case, buddy.
You gotta answer that phone.
Oh yeah, she's like, answer the phone.
Yeah, there's a scene where the billionaire, he's getting a call from Devon Sawa, and he's just not picking it up, and we don't know why. But she's like, pick up the phone.
It just cuts to this like close up of her out of nowhere, and she like yells it, and it's really funny.
Sir, I suggest you answer the phone.
Should have said not to.
That's not how this works.
Answer the phone!
Yeah, I would not anticipate getting so much fucking mileage out of shooting in
Ohio.
Oh, what was it?
Mansfield, right?
Oh, I literally have the Mansfield, Ohio Wikipedia page up, and I forgot.
Yeah, no, they really do. They get all their abandoned factories. They get their actors for like smaller roles. They sure did take all the advantage.
Population of estimated 47,000.
The population. Okay,
yeah, Mansfield.
Okay.
Something that the director talks about that I thought was kind of fun was that he wanted to make sure that when the Chinese characters are talking exclusively to each other, they're all speaking in Mandarin. And they had to like train a lot of the actors because they're Americans, so they don't actually speak Mandarin to phonetically say their lines. But like it does kind of add to the movie on like a production value level.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's something that is like so much more effort than like, because you could have easily just said, yeah, we're not doing that, but he insisted on it, and I do think it gives it an extra little quality.
I guess the one thing I want to note about the director's commentary is that on the back of the disc, it like has, I believe, it has the director listed, and the next after that, like second build on the commentary track is Stallone. But in reality, he just like pre-taped like a small like 5-minute chunk of it with Devon Sawa just talking about their fight scene, and it's very clearly stitched in, so you don't get like a full hour 30 of Sly talking as advertised.
Yeah, it's just the director and Devon Sawa going back and forth, which is fun, but yeah, it's not what it says on the box.
Oh yeah, well, and then Daniel Bernhardt like drops in for a part 2, which it was just, I don't like commentary tracks. Give them to me raw. That's how I like it. The less produced, the more I like it. Give me the one where John Carpenter leaves the room to smoke a cigarette for 15 minutes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that wraps up the bonus features. So with that in mind, we are going to come to the final segments of this podcast that I've so expertly produced. Is this movie a bargain? So we're going to take into account the movie itself, or the video quality of the film, the bonus features, And in this case, we have a multi-format, which isn't always how it's going to go, but just balancing all of those things to say, is this worth the $7? I guess before we say our final words, we'll just talk about the video quality on this. Not great.
No.
There's a lot of really bad like banding in the compression, and it's just gross.
Oh yeah, no, it's compressed in like a kind of janky way, and it doesn't really come off like a, crisp 1080p Blu-ray quality thing. It feels like, a slight up-res on the DVD copy. It doesn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like the step between a DVD and a Blu-ray.
And
not
HD,
quite a
like
Blu-ray, and also not quite a
720-ish.
DVD.
Yeah, the digital grain is really unpleasant. The cinematography is kind of flat to begin with, and the director talks about how much he loves it, but I can't agree.
Yeah, I couldn't stand how the stuff looked in the prison, like that yellow, and maybe that's more of the color grade, but like that was just gross looking.
Yeah, but just beyond the like actual look of the film, the compression that Lionsgate did is bad. They always, and my experience with Lionsgate shit is that they don't know what the fuck they're doing with video encoding. So, and then the audio tracks, you just get the English surround sound and the commentary track, and as far as subtitles go, you get English descriptive and just regular Spanish. So that's not much going on there. So with all that said, the quality of the movie in mind, the packaging, multi-pack and everything. Aaron, since you picked it, what's your summary judgment? Is it a bargain?
The commentary track almost makes me want to say it is, because I was very entertained, but it's not. It's not a bargain. This was $7. Like, maybe if it was a little bit cheaper in the Walmart bin, but $7 for this, even with the different formats and all that, it's not a good transfer of the film. The film's poorly made in a lot of ways, and it's just like everyone tried, like pretty much. You can feel that there was effort put in by a lot of these people, and people tried to have fun making it and all that, and it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's just not entertaining overall. There's like just a couple scenes that stand out, and I just cannot really recommend this to anybody, with both the fact that the movie doesn't look great, it's not transferred well, and it's just mostly boring. They're like, unless you watch it with a commentary track, there's just so many lulls that you're just gonna want to do something else, like cook or clean up or something.
Okay, so Evan, not thinking about the quality of the movie itself exclusively, is it a bargain?
Right. So I have the same kind of thought as Aaron, where the commentary track almost, it's just on the fence. It almost makes me want to say it's a bargain. Maybe if it was like $5 or something, maybe, but it's not quite there. The transfer isn't good. Like Aaron was saying, the quality in terms of like, a full disclosure, I did cook while the movie was playing, so it's really hard to like pay attention, and there was effort. It's definitely not like not even close to some of the worst things I've seen, but in terms of what you get on the disc, which is not a whole lot, it's pretty much just it's that behind the scenes reel, the commentary, and I believe that was it, plus just the trailers that we've already seen. So it's not a lot of bonus features, and the movie itself doesn't really warrant doesn't add to the value that much, so it's just not, it doesn't cut it for me. It's not a bargain.
Okay, so my take is I think I'm right in the middle. I think, it's because on one hand, this is not a good deal at all for $7, And I was assuming going in that I was going to end up giving it a bargain anyway, because I'm always impressed by Blu-ray plus DVD plus digital. I think it's always fantastic to have, multiple versions for multiple situations. But of course it's Lionsgate, so it's a voodoo digital code, which is fucking terrible. And Lionsgate needs to get over it and get on Movies Anywhere or whatever. Yeah, but at the same time, despite all of the non-bargain elements going against it, I can't imagine watching it any other way, because you two underlined the director's commentary track. There's just so much about it, but literally halfway through the movie, I turned on the commentary track because no one was saying, because the dialogue just stops happening at a certain point. So it's like, if you're going to watch this movie, I can't imagine watching it without the commentary track available. And I mean, that's just part of me liking, being so attached to physical media. But I mean, in a way, it's not really worth watching at all, which leads into the next part. Our next judgment is, do you recommend the movie in any form? And that's even just like if it's free on the streaming service that someone has. And we'll go back to Aaron. And if you don't recommend this one, what do you recommend that might be similar?
I just cannot recommend the movie itself. The commentary track, if you can get that, which, that's the huge bonus of buying this physically, is that. But if this is just on, Amazon Prime by itself, I would not want to watch this. It's just too uninteresting. Maybe if you fast forward for, a couple of the big scenes, or look up clips on YouTube or something. But it just does not hang together as a movie, at all. And I think that, there are better, cheap VOD action flicks you can go for that just have more value as a film than this. This is so low action that it's really weird. Because some stuff, it really puts it in there. See, I'm now struggling to think of the movie's name that I want to talk about. But there's multiple action films just on Netflix with low budgets and a couple, actual physical action stars. Jean-Claude Van Damme has still to this day puts out some kind of fun stuff. Some of those Universal Soldier sequels are bad, but they have entertaining schlock action throughout them. Or the why can't I think of its name? There's a good series of movies that star Scott Adkins. He has a bunch of recent decent $2, $3, $4 million movies that I actually kind of enjoy, that have high and tight action like this, but they do it more regularly. And I think you can really just do better than this. Especially if you're trying to buy something at a rate of $7, a massive amount of money for any man in the current United States. Oh yes, he's been making this series of movies with the same director, Accident Man and Avengement, and they're The Debt Collectors. I really like that one. Unbelievably cheap, crazy cheap. They get the Candyman for 1 day on set. But there's some actually fun character development in it, and basic stuff hangs together. And I can't recommend that to a normal person, but if you want a schlock, cheapo, B-movie thing, watching Scott Adkins kick ass is actually, fun. Well, most of the people in this, they can do their stunts or whatever, just the scenes don't mean anything. Their characters aren't memorable, so it doesn't really hang together. So yeah, I can't recommend this, so go on Netflix and just watch something with Scott Adkins in it, or Jean-Claude Van Damme, and have a better time.
Okay, that's a pretty broad recommendation. Evan, what say you?
Yeah, so while this was teetering on the edge of being a bargain, I absolutely cannot recommend it as a movie. It's just, we've said it over and over again, but it's just kind of a slog. Has a few tiny shining moments that are, shining's maybe a strong word, but fun moments, but they're just not enough. So, see, I was, thinking maybe I would recommend some kind of movie that has a similar budget range, but instead I'm going to recommend a better action movie with Sylvester Stallone in it, with a plethora of other action stars. I'm going to recommend that you just watch The Expendables 2. Yeah, pretty different. That's like $100 million movie as opposed to like a $5 million movie. But we have Stallone. I think this movie is legitimately really fun, and it has some of the most like batshit insane action set pieces that I've like just about ever seen. So yeah, and it's got a star-studded cast. You've got Statham, you've got Lundgren, you got Norris, you got Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bruce Willis, Schwarzenegger, Terry Crews. It doesn't end.
And most importantly,
Scott Adkins is also in this, right?
Oh, he is. Yes, he gets one action scene, and
he's in
it's
that,
dope.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie, and it's just better action.
Yeah,
and you can still look at the Sly Boy.
Oh yeah, no, Sylvester Stallone has done.
I don't want to. I don't want to look at him.
I'm just saying if you want to.
Yeah,
I'm just saying if
that's your
if you are sick and twisted enough,
if you're so inclined to.
If you want to look at Batista, the Man with the Iron Fists is a stronger movie than this. It's not good, but he hits a Batista bomb in it. You get that.
In way less words than you guys, and brevity is the soul of wit. I'm gonna say I don't recommend it. And going on the track of prison escape movies or movies with prison escape scenes, I recommend Face Off because they break out of a prison. And
the first movie is just that part in Face Off where they're in the prison the whole movie.
Oh, okay.
It's just that. Maybe watch Escape Plan 1 if you feel like
it. It's Nick Cage. Well, okay. Who's in whose body during that scene? Oh yeah, no, it's John Travolta has swapped faces. So John Travolta is wearing Nick Cage's face. So Nick Cage is playing the scene, and he's in prison, and everyone has these whacked out magnet boots so they can't leave, and there's a prison break scene around it, and that's the entire wedge of my recommendation. Otherwise they don't have much in common other than being an action movie. I just really like Face Off. So
that's fair.
So there you go. Our recommendations are The Expendables 2, Face Off, and
go for the Debt Collector.
For simplicity, say Debt Collectors. Yeah, Debt Collectors starring Scott Adkins, which officially wraps up the first episode of the Bargain Binge podcast, and I hope you actually were able to survive more than 30 seconds of it, like the first version of the podcast. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, SoundCloud, wherever you could possibly want to listen to us. And you can find the links to all of those websites at our main website, bargainbingepod.com. Our Twitter is @bargainbingepod. And so tell all your friends about how cool we are and how good we are at podcasting and how smart we are with movies. And leave us a good review on Apple Podcasts. We're really new to this whole podcasting thing, and we really appreciate anyone that is checking out this first episode and going out on a limb for us. Stay tuned for more. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Unless you guys have anything to add.
I mean, we've now talked about the film for longer than its running time.
Yes, it's true. I don't think that's... Yeah.
Hold on. Close.
Yeah, it's about... Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, from the Bargain Binge podcast, have a good rest of your day or whatever, however you close the fucking podcast out. See
you next time, guys.
Goodbye.